Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So today we'll read two verses from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 65. You can repeat after me. Prasade sarva dukkhana hanir asyopajayate prasanna chetaso hi ashu buddhihi paryavasishtate prasade sarva dukkhana hanir asyopajayate prasanna chetaso hi ashu buddhihi paryavatishtate. Someone can repeat. Na chayuktasya bhavana na cha bhavayata shantir ashantasya kuta sukham. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patita Nama Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'd like to seek Murli Vadat Prabhu's blessings before I start speaking.
Stones don't have any blessings.
So I chose these two verses, a very short translation and purport. Actually, one doesn't even have a purport. But pay special attention to both the verses. The first verse, and Prabhupada puts them in parentheses, in Krishna consciousness. One who is satisfied. One thus satisfied. The threefold miseries of material existence. The threefold miseries. Problems, pain caused by our body, mind. Problems caused by other living entities. And problems caused by nature. Exist no longer. One who is satisfied in Krishna consciousness, these problems exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. And in the next one who is not connected in Krishna consciousness, what happens to that person? Can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind. It's always disturbed. Without which there is no possibility of peace. If one is disturbed, where's the question of peace? And how can there be any happiness without peace? So the sum and substance is that if you are connected in Krishna consciousness, if you are thinking about Krishna all the time, then these problems in our lives will not affect us. Or even if they do in the beginning, it'll be very, very little. It'll just shake you a little bit, but not so much. So, thinking about this verse, I was remembering a story last time I spoke about the Avadut Brahmin and his 24 gurus, and I spoke about Mother Earth as the first guru. So today I'll speak about the 17th guru, which is Pingala. And this is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto. How many of you all have Srimad Bhagavatam at home? Please raise your hand. How many of you all do not have a Srimad Bhagavatam set? Please raise your hand. Okay, it's all right. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Puran. Krishna appears in this age. Srimad Bhagavatam is a representation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Just having Srimad Bhagavatam at home will purify your home. So do consider getting a copy of Srimad Bhagavatam and daily reading at least one verse from it. So, Avadut Brahman, this is when Krishna wants to depart. Mahabharata is over and he's ready to depart back to Golok Vrindavan. And Uddhav finds out that Krishna is going to leave. And Uddhav says, Krishna, can you take me with you? Krishna says, Uddhav, you please stay here. You please stay here and preach. You become sannyasi. You become a sannyasi and travel. He says, becoming a sannyasi is very, full of austerity. How is it possible? It's very difficult. People generally do not take up this process. Tell me something more. Tell me something. Teach me something that I can go and tell others. So he says, Uddhav, let me tell you a story. Once, King Yadu was traveling in the forest and he ran into this Avadut Brahman. From external appearance, he looked like a crazy man. But internally, he was a self-realized person. And because Yadu Maharaj was a very saintly king, he could read and understand that this Avaduta, this person is not an ordinary person. He's a great personality. So he inquired, and at that time, Avadut Brahman talks about the 24 gurus. What are those 24? I'm sorry, I didn't even read the purport of this second verse. So let's read that first. Unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, 5.29, that when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the good results in sacrifice and penance, that he is the proprietor of all universal manifestations, and that he is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. Therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. And when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor and friend of everyone and everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace. However much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life. Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. So, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a verse which summarizes all the 24 gurus. And they're listed here. There's the earth, the air, sky, water, fire, sun, moon, pigeon, python, ocean, moth, honeybee, elephant, bumblebee, deer, fish, Pingala, kukara bird, child, young girl, arrow maker, serpent, spider, and wasp. So this person who's a self-realized soul is taking instruction from insignificant creatures and living beings. Imagine this. Now one may say, so is it okay to make multiple gurus? So we can have Srila Prabhupada and we can have another guru and another guru and another guru and learn from everybody? No. There is a little catch over there. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that it is better to be in a cage surrounded by fire and burn up yourself than be in a room filled with Mayavadis, because the cage filled with fire will only burn your body. But if you're in association of Mayavadis, they will kill your soul. Do you understand? Mayavadis means those who do not accept God as a person. Those who do not accept Vishnu Tattva or Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They do not have the understanding. Forget about even Krishna. but they do not accept God as a person. They think God is an energy. So there's a difference between accepting anybody. But here during his journey, he's learning from different creatures, very in-depth messages. Some of the things you will see, you'll be bewildered. Like, how is it possible? A python, what is he learning from the python? Python just sits there, and whatever comes its way, it eats. It doesn't go searching day and night. Whatever comes, it eats. If it doesn't get something that day, it would go hungry. The next day, gets something, he'll have it, store it, and save it. So he's saying that from that python, I learned how to be self-satisfied. Whatever comes my way, I'll have it. If I don't, so be it. So he's learning. I mean, of course, we can apply up to a certain extent as we are all working grihasthas. So the next 17th guru was Pingala, a very, very beautiful story. Pingala was a prostitute. Now imagine, Avaduta Brahmana is taking Pingala, the prostitute, as her guru. So here it is to show us that they have taken the worst of the scenarios. Just like when Srila Prabhupada came to America, he didn't start with Paramus, Bergen County. It was established in 1922. Today only as I was going through Forest Avenue, I saw a big sign, Paramus established in 1922. And Srila Prabhupada came in 1965. He didn't start with Short Hills or Berkeley Heights. He went to the Bowery in New York City, where the most fallen of the fallen were assembled. So he took them and he said, if I can turn around them and make devotees of Krishna, then anybody else can be made devotees of Krishna. You see, there is hope for us. So here he takes Pingala, the prostitute, as a guru. So this Pingala was from the city of Videha, which is Mithila, which is East Bihar today. In the city of Videha, there was this Pingala. Her profession was this. And she was very anxious to make money. Now in this story, I would like to make a disclaimer that when I speak today, whatever I'm speaking is not directed towards any individual. But if you feel connected to one of these things, take it positively and apply in your own lives. Because sometimes devotees feel that when I speak something, the whole class was meant for them. But when I speak and when I prepare, I feel that that whole class was meant for me. So today when I speak, it will be for myself. But if you find something that somebody recently came up to me in one of the programs last week, after I gave the class and said, Prabhu, I want to confess something, that I have a problem. I have a problem with this. And I know I have a problem and I'm trying to fight, but today your class just brought this out to me. And I want to be honest about it. I want to work on it. So if we don't know what our problems are, how will we even work? Sometimes we know what our problems are, but we are not ready to accept it either, right? So Pingala was very anxious to make money. This story is actually about us. In our day-to-day life, this is what happens. We are very, very anxious to have a comfortable life. To have a comfortable life, obviously you need money. So all the time we are thinking about things we need to do. Why? Because we need to make money. The day our paycheck stops, or they say, well, this is going to be all voluntary work from tomorrow onwards, we're going to stop working there, isn't it? The only place that you come to where you're not getting paid and somebody tell you do this and do that is here. And not only you do it, but you fold your hands, you bow your head and say, yes, Prabhuji, can I do anything else? But you would not do that at work because you're anxious to make money. And Pingala was anxious to make money. She would nicely decorate her body. Nicely she decorated her body because her product was her body. So she would nicely spend hours and hours beautifying herself. We do that. In the morning we wake up, starting with cleaning ourselves and beautifying ourselves, spending a lot of time in the mirror. Thankfully I don't have hair anymore, so for me there is no point combing and gel and all that. I used to have very thick hair before. But Krishna was very merciful to me. He took everything away. Now my son is going through that same trend. And when he goes like this, I'm just smiling, you know. 30 more years. And so she's displaying her body, getting ready for the evening. She's been up all night. As soon as the sun sets, she would go and stand in front of the door, anxiously waiting for a customer. And she would be up. You know, Bhagavad Gita says when everybody is awake, the sadhu is sleeping. When the sadhu is awake, everybody is sleeping. So here, when everybody is ready to sleep, she's staying awake. And she's watching. Who's coming now? And then she has expectations. She's hoping that somebody will come today. Every day, somebody will come. And we have the same hope. We go to work. We do certain things in our day, hoping that somebody will notice what I did. Somebody will notice the hard work I'm putting in. Somebody will appreciate me. Just hope, hope, and hope. And she has expectations. But from who? From strangers. Not even her relatives. She's not expecting help or money from anybody that she's close to. Her friends or relatives. Or the king. The king was supposed to take care of the citizens. But she's expecting from somebody who she doesn't know. And not only that, Bhagavata mentions that she's seeking love from that person. Just like we do sometimes. We expect a lot from people that are not going to give us anything. Like our boss. We work hard, we want to make money, and then there is hope. And there is hope. You call in sick and you say, today I won't be coming, boss. And you expect that through the day, maybe they will check on me and say, how are you? Or the next day when I go into office, they'll say, how are you feeling? Do you need another day off? The expectation is there. I don't know how many of you will experience. I have experienced that. I've been out for a couple of days. You expect at least a few words of, how are you? Missing. Okay, you missed this, you missed this, you missed this, you have to catch up on this, you have to catch up on that, and you feel like, really? For all these days sick for a day, and all you're asking me, you're telling me is that you need to do this, do this, do this, do that. Just like devotees. There's devotees also in the devotee community. You don't show up for a week, you don't show up for a second week. I don't know about you all, but they get a call from me for sure. How are you? Where are you? And when they come back the third week, somebody says, oh, you've been away for so long, huh? What's happening? Huh? Expectation is that they'll be a little sensitive and ask why I wasn't here. Maybe there was some problem. Maybe I've been traveling. Something. But the first thing is, so? Want to wash dishes? Bahut time se aaye nahi, rusted. No. So here the expectations were like this. Nobody came. She kept waiting. She kept waiting and waiting and waiting. And that caused anxiety in her. Complete anxiety. And that happens to us as well. We're working hard and we're trying to hold on to too many things. Home, in the house, kitchen, laundry, dishwasher, husband, child, and then office, this work, that work, and then by the time you realize you look down, Mala is looking at you, Japamala. 16 rounds, me also. Will you take me? Will you pick me? And complete anxiety. That I haven't been able to finish my work, this problem, that problem, and anxiety, how am I going to finish my 16 rounds? Maybe I'll just skip today. Complete anxiety. And from that anxiety came moroseness. She became sad, completely morose. Imagine you spent your all day to go for an interview. You got that suit out, dressed your best, studied your best, prepared your best. You go there, and the person taking your interview is so rude with you. Or they just have a no-show. And you come back, and they don't even response, whether they don't want you or they just don't respond. And you're hoping that they'll hear something from them, and completely sad. And disappointment. Are you all with me? Yeah. You feel somewhat, little bit? And disappointment comes. At this point, she gets frustrated, completely frustrated. She's standing by the doorstep. She goes inside her room, sits on the bed. And then suddenly, when somebody's in anxiety, they get an anxiety attack. People who take depression medicines, they're fine. They're suddenly fine, And then suddenly boom! They just, something from nowhere, they just shoot arrows from their mouth. And they say something, they do something, they just become very hyper at times. So she became like that. And she rushed out of the house. She went on the streets, and the men are walking, and she would go and stand in front of them. And she would go and try to attract them, and she would try to show them. People just walk past her, And then again, she would get morose and come back inside the house. We do that. We want to prove it, that I'm better than the other colleague. I'm better than the other devotee. I'm better this, I'm better that. But nobody's noticing me. Nobody's noticing me. And again, we are morose. And then we feel, forget it. I just want to put 8 hours in my office and forget about the rest. I'll just come and do my other work, do 8 hours, or I'll just go and do my service and finish it off and just come home. No recognition at all. Sadness. Or, I want to quit this job. It's not good for me. I want to quit this service. In anxiety, when a person is not mentally stable, they make all these decisions. They're completely disturbed. That is why Ravana said that when you make decisions, when you're thinking about something bad, wait for some time before acting upon it. Wait and wait and wait and wait. When your senses, when your mind settles down, when intelligence kicks in, you'll be able to make right decisions. When before dying, Ram said this, when my associates, my ministers, they are the ones who enticed me. And I took their advice and I reacted right away. And I sent Surpanakha. And then I sent all these armies and I went myself to capture Sita. If I had only waited and waited, and I've heard Vibhishan, and I'd heard Mandodari, I would have not done what I did. Something to learn. That just be patient. Sometimes we want to just say it. We just want to shoot that arrow and get back to that person really bad. Last time I showed a trick. I've been practicing hard and find it difficult myself. But I showed everyone. How do you do that? Anybody remembers?
Like the tongue.
Open your mouth. Everybody. Bring your tongue out and close your feet. Hold your tongue tight and count or chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Trust me, that arrow that you were going to release on somebody, if you just wait for a few minutes, you'll think before you say something. So she was completely frustrated, and she's going in and out, in and out, in and out. We do that. We go to work, come back, go to work, come back, go to work, come back. Depression, anxiety, stress, this, that, every day, in and out. And she felt a feeling of disgust. And this happens with relationships also. And why did I come to America for this? This was a dreamland. I thought everything was done. I thought when I get my green card from H1, I'll be settled. When I got my green card, they're saying they're only looking for citizens. So I got citizenship. I thought I'll be settled. But then I bought a house, and now I have a mortgage. And now I have a student's loan. So I'm never settled. Never, ever settled. I feel a feeling of disgust. What am I doing with my life? I'm not trying to discourage the young kids who haven't even got to college yet. But at the same time, it is good to hear Bhagavatam so that from this age itself, you have the right understanding of what life is. That you're not running after artificial things. And when these problems come your way, you're in a better situation to handle them. I was not. So I had to take one day at a time and adjust accordingly. Somebody's throwing a stone and I duck at it, and somebody's throwing something else and learn how to defend it. But because you're all so fortunate souls, from childhood, from birth, you're hearing these messages of Krishna consciousness, you're in a much better situation. No school or college will teach you what Srimad Bhagavatam teaches. So she had a full feeling of disgust. Finally, it was midnight. From sunset to midnight, she kept doing this. Imagine what her situation must be. She realized, now she's starting to contemplate what has happened. Night, she goes inside, locks the door and sits. And she has time to herself. We all need time to ourselves. Just to sit back and think where I am in life, where I am going, what's going on around me. And you need that quiet moment. Most of the time, people take shelter of intoxication at that time. They'll take alcohol, they'll take drugs, they'll smoke, just because they would like to forget this misery of the mind, caused by the mind. But we need to sit back and think like Pingala thought. She realized that I've been in complete illusion. I have gotten this rare human form of life, and what have I done with it? With this rare human form, I have been trying to satisfy my bodily needs, make money, and satisfy others. She says, how foolish was I? First thing, she recognizes and accepts that she is fool number one. It takes a lot. Avaduta Brahman just didn't take her as a guru. These are some of the reasons. So, to be able to accept our problems, Krishna is very pleased when we go up to the devotees and Krishna and say, Krishna, I really have this problem. Please help me. The day we put a blindfold on it will continue causing problems to ourselves and others, because we will never get rid of those problems. So she recognized and she took a humble position and said, I am fool number one. Then she felt, I've been struggling to make money. Every day. It takes so much effort. And I've been proud of my ability. And what kind of ability? To please her customers, her ability. We all, Krishna has given us some ability. Somebody is good at math, somebody is good at science, somebody is good in medicine, somebody is good in engineering, somebody is good in art, somebody is good in music, somebody is good in finance. And we're using this ability to please others who give us money end of the day. And she feels that I've been using my ability to please these men. My problem is that I forgot to please that Supreme Lord. That was my problem. That was my mistake. I did not use my ability to serve that Supreme Lord and please Him. And she finds a big hole in her life. So we also have got different abilities. based on our own karmas, and sometimes based on the mercy of the Lord. Where are we utilizing this ability? We spend minimum of 40 hours at work. Minimum. If I add your travel time, everybody's is different. You're adding approximately 60 hours a week. Even if you're working from home, especially in the tax season, you're working 100 plus hours. And how many hours do we spend for Krishna? I'm saying physically you go to the office and work. Now physically, how many times do you go to Krishna's home? Once in a week. How many hours? 4 or 5 hours. And some of you are part of a Friday program called Bhakti Vriksha. You spend another 4 hours. So let's say 10 hours. You spend 10 hours and 60 hours you spend with your ability for others. There's something is wrong there. That's why Srila Prabhupada said, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, because that doesn't mean that you make 40 hours going to temple and 10 hours going to work. But putting your consciousness in the right place, that even if you're doing 60 hours of work, you must know that this ability that Krishna has given me is to serve Krishna. If I'm making this money or whatever I'm doing, is eventually I want to offer it to Krishna, not my own senses, not for sense gratification. So we must think about it. How can we expect, Vijay Bhatia Prabhu is here, he's a businessman. How can you expect to put $1 and expect to make $1 million out of it? It's only a lottery, and the chances are very less, isn't it? You got to put in money to make money. Same way, if you're expecting liberation, how can you expect liberation without putting time and effort in? Is it possible? If it is, I want to know. But it is not possible. But it's okay. Somewhere we have to start. And the number of hours, some people may be thinking, well, I do spend 2 hours, 3 hours at home, chanting, deity dressing, bhoga offering. Yes, all that is there. But it is not the same when you're not in the association of devotees. Association of devotees is very rare in this Kali Yuga. So that time we need to increase. So even if you come on Sundays, for example, try to come early, attend the kirtans, sing and dance in Gaura Arti, in bhajans, kirtans. You don't want to just come when the shank is being blown. You want to serve devotees. Prabhupada called Krishna consciousness as devotional service. Devotional service. Not you just come, sit down, attend the program done, take prasadam and leave, which is good. We do not criticize that. But if we want to grow in our spiritual life, we have to ask ourselves, what is my devotional service? How am I utilizing my ability in serving Krishna and the Vaishnavas? All this time, she was happy externally, but internally, completely unsatisfied. It is our situation. Somebody goes to work. First thing they say, how you doing? And we say, great. But internally, we're not happy. In our devotee circle, sometimes they ask, Prabhu, are you well or are you in the well? Prabhu, I am in the well. I'm suffering in the well. Please help me. Take me out. But we go out and howdy. How's it going? Great. Awesome. Krishna, help me. That's our situation. Why is she saying? Because I neglected my own well-wisher. That's why within I'm unhappy. Externally, I have beautiful sari on, beautiful makeup, I have a nice house, I have a nice mirror, nice furniture, beautiful bed. Everything is beautiful. I have a nice car, I have a nice home. I have beautiful children, I have everything materially nice. But internally, Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhav, Radha Shyam Sundar ki, Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Prabhupada ki. But internally we're unsatisfied. And how can we be satisfied internally? We have to be happy internally. Externally, if you may not be, it's okay. You could be suffering from a disease. People, we have known devotees who are suffering from diseases. Look at Srila Prabhupada's life. At the end of his life, barely can speak. He's quoting Bhagavad Gita verses. Our turn will also come. 60, 70 years, 80 years, or it could come anytime. How are we going to be at that time? If we are internally peaceful, happy, satisfied, then doesn't matter what comes upon us, physically or mentally, we'll be able to sail that smoothly. So learn to become peaceful internally, which is by not neglecting our own Supreme Lord. She said again, I am the only fool in Vidya. Now our situation is a little different. When we talk to people, they say, everybody in the world is doing this. Are they fools? Isn't it? Everybody is going to work, everybody is going to movies, everybody is doing this, restaurant जाते सब करते सब क्या पागल है क्या सब लोग? Is everybody mad? Here she's saying, I am the only fool. And on the other side, today's day and age, people say, well, hey, everybody's not a fool. I mean, are they a fool? And we start thinking also, hey, that's true. Everybody looks so happy, just like Pingala. From externally, they are happy. They have everything they need materially. But when they meet and talk, you've been to social gatherings, devotees especially, who have been coming for some time, you feel a sense of, when will this event finish so I can go home? Because the talks that are going on has no meaning. It's like koklapan inside, it's like emptiness sometimes you feel. You try to connect, you want to be there, of course, but you just realize that people are talking about this and that and politics and finance and I bought this thing, I bought that. But devotees, when they've had a taste of Krishna and there is no Krishna discussions, they feel like empty, completely empty. So she says, I'm the only fool. How many devotees can come to the temple and say, Prabhu, I am the only fool in this whole place? Generally, we feel everybody else is a fool. I am the greatest. Vaishnavanam yatha Ramachandra. Vaishnavanam yatha Ramachandra. I am the greatest of the greatest. Everybody else is a fool. Ramachandra Prabhu, you gave this class wonderful. It was meant for that person. Arey Baba, it was meant for you. No. It was meant for that person. It happens to me. It has happened to me. When somebody is saying something, and I'm like, yeah, is he listening or is he sleeping? Hey, wake him up. Prabhu, can you rewind one more time, please? What you just said. Because I want that person to hear it. No, it was meant for me. It was meant for all of us. See, when somebody speaks from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, when Prabhupada speaks or anybody speaks, they speak for our betterment. They're just repeating. I'm just repeating what I've heard from the Acharyas. I'm not making anything up. So it is not against somebody. It's not about an individual or anything like that. But we take something positive out of it. She says, I'm the only fool. Now she says, I'm going to purchase my Lord. I'm going to purchase my Lord now. With what? With full surrender. Now that is what I'm going to do. Enough of this anxiety, frustration, disappointment, moroseness, anxiety. And I'm a fool number one, but now I'm going to get his attention. I want to get his attraction to me. She says, all this time I've been trying to serve these men and these Devi Devatas for temporary happiness. Because these men are also temporary, they have a life, and so the demigods, I earned the money, I used to do some puja, when I used to satisfy and please some Devi Devatas, but they themselves are temporary, they themselves have limited life. So how can they give me permanent happiness? I am going to worship that Vishnu who gives liberation. Nobody else can give liberation, not even Brahma, not even Shiva, not even Indra. I'm going to surrender to that Vishnu because I want full happiness, no temporary, permanent happiness. She started getting a feeling of detachment, a feeling of detachment. When all these things comes upon us, when our own loved ones, when our own finances, when our own health gives up on us, we try to hold on to it. So please, please don't do this to me. Please. I've given my heart to you. I've dedicated hours and hours for this job. Please don't lay me off. Please don't say these harsh words. The only way we can overcome is being detached and say that's it. Things that are not in our hand, why worry about it? Something about it, do it. If you can't do anything about it, leave it up to Hari. She felt a feeling of detachment. And see what happened. The moment she felt the feeling of detachment, she started feeling happy within. Within, not externally. And then she said that this suffering that I'm going through tonight, this suffering of mine, I'm actually very fortunate. I'm not unfortunate, I'm very fortunate that today I'm in this situation. I'm alone, by myself, nobody around me, didn't make any money and all this, but I'm really happy. So whenever we get suffering and problems, you can use it as a fuel. For the car, you need fuel, you need gas. Similarly, for spiritual takeoff, to go to Golok Vrindavan, we need that suffering. Mother Kunti is not just praying just like that for the sake of it. Why are we here in the spiritual world? Because we forgot Krishna. So we have come here. It is like going into a hospital. Why do we go to hospital? To party? Do we go to hospital to have nice Chinese food? No, we go to hospital because we are in complete misery. And when we go to the hospital, we get more misery. How? IV. We get more pain, lying down for hours and hours. And then somebody in the next bed is please let me sleep. And everybody's complaining. Wherever you go, everybody's complaining. You go to work, somebody's coming and crying. This happened to me, that happened to me. You come home, you forgot to bring this, you didn't do that, you didn't do your laundry, you didn't keep this. Everywhere complain, morning to evening. Those who are not into Grihastha ashram, Hariva, be prepared. But if we use this suffering, these problems in the right way, it could actually become a fuel for you to go closer to Krishna. Actually, you think about it very deeply. Whenever you have a challenge in life, how you utilize it matters a lot. How many times you are so happy and you were remembering Krishna? Let me chant and let me just sit down alone and chant, Hare Krishna. No, but when you are sad and when you are down, that's when you would sit down with Bhagavad Gita, those beats, and that chanting is the best chanting. So utilize it as a fuel. And she's saying that was actually not unfortunate. I'm very fortunate that Krishna showered this suffering on me. Now with devotion, I accept this mercy from Krishna. And I will depend on him completely. I will not depend on these men or women or my boss. I'm going to completely depend on Krishna. She says, Krishna, who takes care of his devotees. For him, the priority is his devotees' well-being. How did I forget that? He's promised to Arjun, Arjun, you declare, there my devotee will never be perished. Why did he not declare? Because if Krishna had declared, Krishna can break his vow anytime. But when his devotee declares, he will keep his vow. So he said, Arjuna, you declare. Krishna took care of Sudama Brahman, had nothing. They didn't have anything to eat that day. The wife had to go to the neighbor's house and get some chip rice. Sudama Brahman was so completely surrendered and devoted. And Krishna gave him everything. Dhruva Maharaj, he was kicked out. He was hurt. He was not kicked out of the palace. But his father did something that kicked him out completely from that relationship. He approached Narayan he took care of him. Prahlad Maharaj, the prince, entire universe was going to belong to him. His father tried to kill him. Whose shelter did he take? Vasudeva, Krishna. And he protected him. Arjuna, the Pandavas, they were in so much misery. They were being cheated. Krishna said, I will be with you in the fight. I'll not fight, but I'll be with you, don't worry. Just Krishna being with you is good enough. He protected them. He gave them everything. Srila Prabhupada, big business, married, everything, gave up, gone down, trying to preach by himself in India, trying to print the Back to Godhead magazine, distributing from person to person in the hot day, sun falling on him, feeling vertigo, falling down. One day a bull hit him. Prabhupada fell down. Prabhupada, who today will say one word and 1 million people, thousands of people just give their life for him. That Prabhupada, he went through so much. Coming to America, 2 heart attacks on the ship. That Prabhupada, he took care of him. And Pingala is saying that how could I have forgotten that Krishna will take care of me also? So for us devotees who are struggling with our office work, we are struggling to just survive, materially struggling. The last thing you want to give up is Krishna. The last thing. Have faith in Krishna. If you do not get food, I said to myself, if I don't get food, I'll go to Jaidrapadi Mataji's house and eat. If I don't have a house, I'll go to Audharya Gaurang's house and stay in his basement. But I will not stop going to Sunday programs. I will not stop preaching. I will not stop practicing Krishna consciousness, because Krishna has said, he's promised. And actually he kept giving more. The more time I put towards Krishna, trust me, he gives more and more and more and more. Time is never there actually, but he gives more materially also. So the last thing we want to do is reduce our time from 10 hours to 5 hours, to 3 hours, to 2 hours, and then 0. If you lose this opportunity of devotees, I don't know which lifetime it will take us to get this association again. So take it very seriously. And then she says to herself, I will never give up devotional service. And then happily, she goes to bed. This was her evening. Such a transformation from suffering to complete realization. So from this, Avadut Brahman says that I learned that hopes for sense gratification is the root of all suffering. Yes, you can expect things in life, but hoping, that maybe I'll get this, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do it. For sense gratification, we should think about Krishna. We all want to go back home, back to Godhead, don't we? So raise your hand if you want to go back home, back to Godhead. Everybody wants to go. Because that's where we belong. And honestly, if we want to go there, there's only one way: to develop love for Krishna. And to develop love for Krishna, our heart has to be very pure, very clean, and we have to develop love for Krishna. And to develop that love, we have to get to know Him, we have to spend more time with Him, and people who know Him, and this way we will remember Him all the time. And this life can become your last life. Prabhupada has also given us that assurance. Somebody asked me that, Prabhu, if somebody has, our sannyasis, for example, they have eaten meat before they came to Krishna consciousness. They had beef. I'm sure some of them had beef. And then they became Vaishnavas, then they became sannyasis. So will this be their last life? He said, is there a doubt? Krishna himself promises, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma sucha. And to add to that, Srila Prabhupada says, chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles, hold my dhoti, I'll take you from the back door to Golok Vrindavan. So we must have full conviction in Guru and Gauranga. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhuji.
A comment My comment is that Srila Prabhupada told us that his spiritual master used to quote this verse, Yashahamanagrina Harisha Tatam Namai, that when Krishna shows special mercy, he takes everything away. And Prabhupada said it happened to him, his business collapsed. The reason I'm making this point is we're depending on Krishna, but don't think he's going to give you what you want, he's going to give you what you need. And we have to adjust our thinking. I'd like to, you made so many wonderful points. I would like to focus on one of them. And you were explaining the importance of serving the devotees. So we know from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Bhakti Tana Mula Anga, that it's the root cause for devotional service. And even on the platform of Prema, association is so important. But what about me, as you described? So I'm at home, I jam around, take care of my deities. Once a week, I can go to the... What do I do for the other 6 days to be able to associate with devotees?
Very good question. Thank you very much. So today's day and age where technology is very high-tech, there's many ways we can associate with devotees. Especially Srila Prabhupada, we can associate through his books, by his lectures. We also have, like I myself conduct this every Wednesday calls. There's a conference call where we meet for half an hour. Every week a lecture is distributed, everybody hears a lecture, and we discuss that. And this way there are many other courses, seminars, many things that are happening. But the best thing is you have your phone, you have your headphones, anywhere you can associate with devotees. You may not be able to do actual work practically, like serving prasadam and all that may not happen. But you have to go and fight. So this is like going into the war and fighting. When you're going out preaching, is fighting. You don't keep fighting day and night. You come back to the camp. And when you come back to the camp, you have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to nourish yourself, get ready and go back, isn't it? So during the week, think as if you're in the camp. And when you're in the camp, don't forget to eat, sleep, and rest. Which means don't forget to chant, have prasadam, talk Krishna Katha, hear Krishna Katha. And then when you come back, if you're doing that right, then you'll be energetic to come, number one. I can tell, generally the symptoms are there. If you're not willing to, enthusiastic because you're in the camp, there's something wrong. So when you're doing right things in the camp, you'll come back and fight vigorously. And when you're at the war, when you're at the battlefield, which is the temple Bhakti Vrikshas, you'll serve with full enthusiasm. Hare Krishna.
That was wonderful. We can associate with Prabhupada, not just Prabhupada, but all the acharyas. Is this another possibility? So I'm a grihastha. So if I can see my wife, or my wife can see me, not just as a sense gratification, but here's a devotee, here are the children, they're devotees, let me serve them in that mood. That's also serving devotees.
Thank you very much for reminding that. We tend to forget that. Thank you. Okay, I will end here. It's prasadam time. If you have any questions, you can see me later on. Hare Krishna.
Hare